Hi guys, welcome back to Fables and Fantasy. So I have to do this video because as I was about to post episode 43 I was looking through it just to try to figure out a title that I was going to put on for the channel, and it disappeared off of my computer, off of my drive. I don't know what happened and I can't find it, so I'm doing this video sort of as a more in-depth recap. If you don't care, then you can just go to the next episode. It's gonna have a pretty good like summary over what happened in this episode. But if you care for more of the details, that's what I'm going to be doing here right now. So we actually started off with Atash and his new puppet, Sahira, with them waking up in her house and going to Bartholomew's house. They were greeted by a servant there, and upon hearing the name of Jaren, she brought him to Bartholomew's office where he was doing paperwork. And Bartholomew recognizes Atash as being the slave that Greg had previously had, and Sahira just let him know that she was asked to take care of Atash by Greg and that she wanted to contact Jaren. So Bartholomew calls up the palace, and Jaren is awakened by one of the servants letting him know that there was a call for him. So they take Jaren to where one of the communication devices are, and they briefly discuss with Bartholomew before Bartholomew calls back in Sahira, and Sahira gets on the phone with Jaren, um, and just asking where Jaren is. Jaren lets her know that they are still at the palace and that he's going to be staying there, and that Sahira and Nataj can just come to the palace, be his new bodyguards, since he lost both of them the previous night. And Jared also asked who the real master was, whether it was Sahira or Atash, and Sahira responds with, "I think we both know the answer to that." And Jared tries making a bit where calling Sahira Greg too instead of Sahira, and Sahira tells him not to call her that. But Jaren persists, and so he gets hung up on by Sahira, and Sahira and Atash make their way to the palace. Meanwhile, Jaren has an audience with the Empress, with accompanied by Tyr and Ember, two of his sisters. And they are requesting that Jaren be excused from classes so that he can focus on training, because there was a bit of an off-screen time with with the player of Jaren and I just discussing certain things that he might have wanted to discuss here, but he only thought of it after session. So and it was kind of communicated there that Jaren was behind compared to the rest of the siblings. Even those younger than him are technically ahead of him. And so Tyr, Ember, and Jaren go to the Empress and address this, but the Empress is a little uncooperative and insists that him taking classes is just as important as training. And Ember brings up the fact that there is a law against prohibiting the physical training and skill training of an heir. And Ember lets the Empress know that she, as Tyr, as well as some of their other siblings who watched Jaren, could testify that he is definitely behind and needs the extra training. And Ember is confident that even her soldiers could take Jaren in a fight and win. So the Empress reluctantly recedes, and rather than taking all the classes, tells Jaren that instead he's going to have an earlier start in the day. He's going to take the basic foundational classes, and then he will have the rest of the day to training. So he talks with Tyr and Ember for a little bit. Ember heads out, and Tyr said, "Why don't we go get some breakfast?" upon going there, they interact with Tyr's mother, who's just this very stern, hardcore woman. She mentions to Tyr, like, what are you doing? Why are you on the hallways? You should be classes or training. And Tyr's just saying, we're getting breakfast. And the woman is like, well, it seems more like you're dilly-dallying, so why don't you get busy? Tyr's mother also mentions that she would like to talk with her and her blood or her full blood relative siblings, her children. And so Tyr and Jaren go get breakfast, and then Jaren goes to training. Tyr already had someone that she had prepared for. His name was Master Lee, and they kind of introduce each other, and Master Lee gets right into the training. And Jaren does pretty well about mid-training. Zahira and Atosh meet up with him, and they kind of go off to the side to talk for a little bit when Vea overhears them discussing, and they're specifically talking about the Dark Domain and going to see the mistress, and Atosh having something, possibly wanting to do something before they go to the Dark Domain. And Vea kind of briefly overhears it and is like, what are you hiding from me? Do you know anything? Is this connected to the attack? And so Jaren kind of opens up to her a little bit, and then Vea lets them know that they had caught 3 of the attackers, but one of them had managed to escape and 2 of them committed suicide before any questioning was able to happen. And she also mentions that they are of light origin. Those races that they caught were of light origin, so she's not exactly sure if it could be linked to the Dark Domain because of that. And then Sahira mentions seeing where the attackers left, like under the sewer passageway that Atosh had followed with their parasite earlier and kept track of. And so Sahira offers to take Vea with her to scout out that area and have a closer investigation on it. So Vea goes to get ready. Meanwhile, Butterfly is still spending his whole day at Bartholomew's just reading, trying to practice druidry. And Warren, the council member in the palace, had gone out. It's a summer festival for that day, so he decided that he was going to spend it celebrating with the slaves that he has at home, and wanted to prepare like a little fun little stand that happens just because people tend to, it's a very community local sort of celebration, and people tend to bring in foods, and they'll set up games and stuff. And so Warren decided he wanted to be part of that, just to interact with the community and kind of get his reputation out some more. So he goes home to his slaves and goes out shopping with them to set up this game stand that he wants to do for the summer festival. And that is pretty much what happened. I hope I didn't miss too many important details, but again, the brief summary will be next time. I feel like I'm so frustrated about what happened, but yeah. Anyway, I hope to see you guys next session, and you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time. Bye.